Thank you all for coming and welcome to my session, Keep Calm and C Sharp, Scripting in Power BI. Maybe first I will talk about myself a little bit so you know who is the person standing in front of you or sitting in front of you. I'm Paulina Jędrzejewska. I was born in Poland. I studied in Germany, business mathematics, and currently I'm living in Switzerland. And I have to say you, it's the most beautiful place in the world. I started with Power BI in 2018. I was a working student back then. I learned everything hands-on. I did a lot of mistakes on the way, but I learned from them, and now I'm here to tell you what I learned, what I use in my day-to-day life. I fall in love with Power BI instantly, and now I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, and I'm giving trainings on Power BI, every single topic of Power BI. Currently, I'm working in this company called Betelligent. It's a really great place to work, and yeah, that's it. That's me. If you have any questions, we can discuss this later, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I will post a link after the session. So what's our agenda for today? First, we will take a look on why should you script in Power BI? What are the advantages of scripting and what can you achieve with that? Then I will walk you through some C# basics, so just you know how the syntax looks like, how can you use different functions, and just the stuff we need for our demo session. Then we will take a look on the Tabular model, what objects are there and how to use them. And on the end, we will deep dive into code. So I will show you a few examples from my day-to-day work where C# scripting helped me. So let's just start. Why should you script in Power BI? With Power BI, you can just automate a lot of things. The most common example are creating and deleting measures, renaming objects, moving objects into folders, or formatting objects. So set the percent format or currency or whatever you want to. Why should you do that with C# if you can also do it manually? Because with C# scripting, you can walk through a bunch of objects in seconds. You don't have to click every single one of the measures and change it. You can just go there and work through 20, 30 measures at once. C# scripts are also very reusable, so you can use it on every single model in your company, in your Power BI. And with that, you can ensure homogeneous structure and naming convention. So you can make sure that every single data set of yours is looking the same way, have the same structure. The report builders can find the measures in the same places. And the most beneficial is there are no more tedious tasks for you. What do you need to start with scripting? It's pretty basic. You need the Tabular editor 2. The 2 is enough. You don't need the free version, the version 3. And also Power BI Desktop. I also like to use a code editor like Visual Studio or something because it's a bit easier to write code with that. But you can also code in Tabular editor too. It's fine. It's not so nice, but it works. So that's it for the introduction. And now let's jump into C# basics. I have one ask for you. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat or raise on hand or something, so just we can clear them up when we go and not on the end, because it will be harder to follow when you don't understand something of the basics. So the first thing we will need is the output. This is how you can debug your code, how you can open the prompt window and show something in it. So you just take the string you want to show, and put point output on the end of it. And then you get the window where it's called, where is the text you wanted to show. Then we have the comments. We have one-line comment with 2 slashes, and we have multi-line comment with a slash and asterisk. Just so your code is clean and you can write some additional things to it, or just comment out some things you don't need anymore. Then we have the variables in C#. You can specify variables by naming the type of the variable. And this is, I think, the best practice for programming with C#, but we are scripting. So here is, as long as it does the job, it's fine. So I mostly go with the variable, just variable for variable. So you don't have to specify type, and your variable can be everything you want it to be. But if you want to specify the type of variable, you can just go with the typical ones like int, double, char, string, or boolean. So that's it for the variables. Then we have lists and dictionaries, also very useful to define a list in C#. You just go there and say my variable, then give it a name, is a new list, and here you have to give a type of the objects in your list. This is pretty common here. You have to specify the type. The same with the dictionary. You have the variable, the name, also the new, and then you have to specify the type of the key and the type of the value you have in it. So that's the list and the dictionary. Now we have some more functions for the string. What can you do with strings in C#, or what will we use in our code, in our deep dive session, is contains. Contains just checks if a substring is contained in the string you have give the program. Ends with is similar to contains. It just looks up if the substring is on the end of the string. And then we have the function substring, when you just give the start and the end, and it gives you a substring from the start to the end. So if I say from null to 2, I get the probably 3 characters here. So then we have also pretty nice function. It's called format, where you can put in a string with some placeholder. This is our placeholder, this null here in brackets, and then say with which text, with which other string it should be filled. So pretty useful when you are working with the same structure over and over and just want to exchange the part of it.
Quick question.
Yeah.
For the string format, can you add multiple? Can you do 0, 1, 2, and add multiple?
Yeah. You can just take the brackets and put 1, 2, 3, and so on in it, and then just with commas put more things into it.
Perfect. Thank you.
So then we have a little bit to the list. If you have something, some tables, some columns, or anything, we just can put it to the list or to array. And another good function for the lists is the where function, where you can just filter the list to your needs. So an example here, we have a list with these numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32. And we want only the small numbers, the numbers that are less than 10. So we can just create a new variable where we take the numbers list, so this list here, and say where my n, my object in the list, is smaller than 10. Then we will get in the small numbers the 1, 2, 4, and 8. Just it. We will see the next one afterwards. So let's jump to the next slide. We have the for each function where we loop through some array or list, and there we just define a variable, so our object, and iterate through an array or a list, and then the block code will be executed for this variable in here. The next thing we will need is the if function, where we just set the condition. So if the condition 1 is true, this block will be executed. If not, it goes to the next one. So we have the else if, where the condition 2 can be specified, and if the condition 1 is false and the condition 2 is true, this block will be executed if neither of them is true, so the else block will be executed. So pretty common in other languages, but just to recap. So that's it for the C# basics. Do you have any questions at this point?
I don't see any questions in chat. And again, just a reminder for everyone here, feel free to type your questions in chat whenever, and we'll make sure to ask them during the session. We want to make sure that you follow along with everything, so don't be afraid to ask any questions. There are no dumb questions here.
Exactly, thank you. So if there are no questions, but if you have any questions, just ask. In between, we can always make a stop and answer it. So then let's jump into the objects in Tabular model. So Tabular model is the thing behind Power BI. It's the model we create when we join the different tables and create measures and stuff. So how does it look like in Tabular model? How does the Tabular model look in Tabular editor? So we have here the object model. It's very hierarchical. So it's like a tree. You have the model, then we have tables. In the tables, you have columns, and so on. So when we use the objects in Tabular editor, we just call them by its name. So we have the model. Then when we put the point behind the model, we can call the tables in it. We can also call a specific table when we call it by its name. So if I type sales here, I will jump into this table in here. Pretty easy, isn't it? We have a few more slides to go. And then we have in the tables, we have also columns. A column can have a name and you can call a specific column by it. And the same goes for the measures. We have the table. It's really important to always specify the table when we are in, because every object has its place and measures are living in the tables. So just call the table by its name and then you get all the measures from the table, or just call a measure by its name and then you just get this one specific measure. For the measures, we have some attributes, some options we will use today. And the options you can also find in Tabular Editor. There are a lot more than I'm showing here today. But today we will just go with the name, the DAX object full name, the expression, display folder, and format string. Do you know the difference between name and DAX object full name? They seem at first pretty similar because they have name in it, but the name is just the KPI name, the name we see afterwards in Power BI, like KPI sales or something. And DAX object full name is the full name that we are using to call this one object. So, for example, we have the table and the measure, or the table and the how do you call sorry, the table and the measure in it. So I have an example here, but I put another visual on it. So I will show you this in Tabular Editor afterwards. And the last one, really the last one, and then we go into code, is the add measures add measure function, where we just add a measure to a specific table. We can then specify for this function the name of the measure, the expression, so the DAX code in it, and the display folder, so where we want to put it. You can skip the expression in the display folder, but the name has to be in there. So that's it for this part. And now I will switch the displays and I will show you all of this in Power BI. Or do you have any questions?
We do have a question on whether you've tried using ChatGPT for developing C#. We can save that for the end if you wanna.
No, it's fine. I'm struggling with my presentation now. Yeah, no, it's no. I wasn't working with ChatGPT with C#, but I was working with JavaScript for Power Apps, and it was genius. Really, really great. So I think it will be probably similar.
Very cool. And the other question that we had was just on documentation of scripting in Tabular. So I shared the link there for anyone else who wants to take a look at that.
Okay, great.
Let's see.
So I have to put you here. Sorry, I have to switch everything from one display to another. But here we go. So yes, I said I'm using Visual Studio Code for scripting. It's for me a bit easier than in Tabular Editor. I will just.
Do we need this this value at all?
Do you need what? Sorry.
Oh, I think maybe Rob unmuted himself by accident.
Oh.
But can you zoom in just a little bit in your code there?
Yeah, but we won't stay here. I will just. I wanted to show you how colorful the code here is.
Okay.
And then we will skip to the Power BI part, and we will look at the code in there. So I will show you first of all the model I have prepared for you. I have a small model. I have the fact table is my sales table. I have customer, store, product, and date. Pretty simple. And we will just work mostly with sales and date today. Just one thing I wanted to show you is I have two columns here. Where are they? Oh, here, KPI quantity and KPI sales amount. We want to measures from it. So now I have only two, but imagine I have like 10 or 20 columns in here. They are just KPIs, and I want make a measure of every one of it. It's just a sum, but manually it will take time. But because you have to click on it, you have to create the measure. You have to put the code in it, the DAX code, and so on. So we will just do it pretty simpler and easier and quicker. For that, I have to jump in Tabular Editor. You can find Tabular Editor under External Tools if you install it. If not, you can find it on internet. Just look for Tabular Editor too. And if you can't see it here under External Tools, you can also open it from the search engine here and just connect with your model. It works also fine. I will go the easy way today and just type this button here. And the new window is open. This is Tabular Editor. If you didn't saw it till now, this is the thing. So what we have here? We have here on the side here a model. I will try to zoom in. Oh, here. We have the model, we have the tables in here and everything. If I just open it, there will be tables in here. And here are my measures. Here are my columns and everything. I cannot make it bigger, but if you need to, you can also make the screen bigger in your Teams. I think on the bottom left side, you have to see, you should see plus and minus signs if you hover over. And with that, you can make the screen bigger. So we have here the expression editor, but where do you put the C# code? As the names call here, this tab is for C# code. You just can get into this and start typing. This field I can make bigger, so I will do. And let's just start with some output, with some basics, so just you get the feeling how it works. So I start with some hello and point output. And let's see what happens. To run the code, I have to click on this green triangle here. And now I have my prompt with hello in it, just like that. So this is the first thing I wanted to show you from the basics. And the second one, it's pretty cool because when you start typing model and then put a point on the end of it, you see all the options you have for the object model. It's pretty nice because I didn't find any good documentation on a tabular model and C#. So this should work. So this is the thing. Another good practice is if you don't want to type the name and stuff, you can just drag and drop. I can just take the sales table, put it in here, and I have my sales table. It's also called, comes with this S table or something. You can leave it as it is, and you also get the attributes for that, or you just can take this part out. And so this part for yourself and the others remove it. So these are the two things. And this third pretty cool thing in Tabular editor I wanted to show you are the samples. So in the samples, you have some code snippets you can just use, like loop through all selected columns, all selected tables and stuff. So you select here on the side some stuff and you just can loop through it. So that's it. And let's see the first example I prepared for you. Or do you have any questions?
No questions so far. Just laughing a little bit at Rob, who managed to unmute himself at a perfect time in your presentation. But no other questions that I can see.
Okay, great. And don't be shy. Just ask if you don't understand something or when I did something wrong. Just say, just speak up. So, what we want to do, as I showed you, I have here in my sales table, it's pretty small, I will zoom in. I have my KPI quantity, oops, and KPI sales amount. It's nice, there are columns, I can just sum the columns, but I want to do it with C# and I want to make measures from it. For that, I will just copy my code snippet and put it in here. Oh, make it a bit smaller so it fits. Okay, how would I do it? I would, for start, I will define a new variable for the measures table. So for this table where I want to put my measures in. For that, I will just take the model, take the tables in that model, and look for measures table. The second variable I want to have is the source table, KPI source table, so it's my sales table in this example. And for that, I just take the model again, take the tables again, and then in there, I will just look for the sales table in that model. So when we have these two variables, we will just loop through the columns of the table sales. For that, I use the for each function. I want to look for columns in it. So this is my variable that I can call afterwards. And we will just loop through the KPI source table, so my sales table in here. And we want to loop through the columns in it. So now this part of code just iterates through every single one column in this table. But we don't want to create a measure for every column in here. We just want this one where the KPI is on the front of the name. So there I can just put an if statement where I just look at the columns, look at the name of these columns, and look if it contains the substring KPI. So now we will just look at these two columns, what we want. And for that, we can just now add the measures. I will create a new variable for it. It's called the new measure. I take the measures table, so my table where the measures are in, and I use the function add measure. Now I have to give it a name. I want it to have the same name as the column, so I just call the column from here, from here, and I take the name of the column. Then the DAX expression For that, I want just to sum this column up. So I put sum in it, and then the DAX object full name of the column. The DAX object full name is the table and the column together. And then I want to display it in the generate from columns folder. So as you can see here in the measures, I have 2 folders already, generate from base and change format. And now I want here to have a third option, generate from columns. So let's see what happens when we run this code. Just on this green triangle. And now we have here another folder with generate from columns. Now I will open it, and we have 2 new measures in it. But we are not done yet, because we have these 2 new measures in it. But when I now look in Power BI, there is nothing here. So I have also to save the whole thing I did and just hit this little save button. Now we should have, yeah, there it is. We have a new folder, and we have 2 KPIs in it. So that's it for the first example. Yeah, it's pretty basic with when you do it with 2 KPIs. Yeah, I could do it manually. But if I have 20, 30, what happens? So I'm working with a lot of clients, and it happens. So it's easier to just run code through it.
Very cool. And we have one question. It's instead of checking on the column name, is it possible to check on the column data type and do the same thing based on data type?
Yeah, you can do it. You can just go there. Oh, wait, data type. I think so, because I worked with format strings most of the time, but you also have for the columns. Do you have anything here? Summarize by.
I think it's the top one that's gray on data type.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, so you should be able to read that. We can just check it. So we have the column here. Or I will just remove this part. I will put this column in here, and we will see if we have data type. Yeah, you have the data type. You can read it. You can also work through it. So that works. Any other questions?
No, I think that was the one for now.
Okay. So we created these 2 KPIs. It's great, but now I don't like them anymore. I want to delete them. So what would I do? I can just work through the measures. I can just put it in another folder, and I just delete it with the script. So let's see how can we do that. For that, just for this example here, I will go to Power BI, and here I will take this 2 and put it in the folder to delete. So we have the folder to delete, and we want to delete only these KPIs in this folder. And I will show you how to do it. For that, I will copy another code snippet, put it in here. It's a bit longer, but we will scroll. It's fine. So again, I will just take a variable, create a variable for the measures table, because it's where we want to delete something. I will open this one so you can see. And then I will iterate through it. So again, it's pretty easy when you have only 2 measures in it, but maybe you want to delete a lot more with a lot of more rules. You can also do it through the code. So we will iterate through it with for each function, and we will just in the last example we did it with if function. Now we will use the where function. So what I will do, I will take the for each. I will take some variable in it. My variable is m in this case. I take the measure table. I look through measures in it. So all the measures are they're here. I have some more here, but we just want to delete this too. And then I will take the where function. And there I will specify my condition for the measures I want to delete. And my condition is where m is has the display folder that contains to delete. Then I have to pack it to the list. And then I can just call it m.delete. And that's it. So let's see it in action. I will just run the code. And the 2 measures here are gone. I just have the generate from base, change format. I don't have to delete anymore. So that's it. Any questions to this part?
Yes, we did get a question. Is the name of the folder or table case sensitive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. We can just try it. I will just say measures with small, but I'm pretty sure it is. Or does it? No, it isn't. That's great. I always looked after the right name, but it seems it's not case sensitive. They are great questions. I'm learning from them. Any more questions?
All good for now.
Okay, great. Then the next use case. So let's see. We'll jump into Power BI. I want to show you something where my clients struggle. So I have a table. I have a measure. Let's take the base measure in here. It doesn't matter which measure it is. So I have quantity and I have sales amount. What I'm often using is some calculation groups. So I just take the calculation group. I have actuals and previous year. I can put it into the matrix. I can show it like that. What mostly happens is that we have the time intelligence as columns. The thing is, I cannot change the layout here. I can say I want to see actuals and previous year from quantity base, and then actuals and previous year from the quantity, from the sales amount. I'm working mostly with clients that are building their own reports. So I just providing the data set and they are just doing every calculations and everything they want in their reports. But the calculation groups, in my opinion, are not that flexible as simple measures. So what I want to have is just this calculation groups as a measures. So I have quantity AC actuals, I have sales amount actuals. Then I have quantity previous year, I have sales amount previous year. And the difference is then I can just go there and put them in there. And I can move them all around how I want it to. So I can have a quantity AC and sales amount and C, sales amount previous year, quantity previous year, or another configuration you want to. But it's difficult to generate every single time intelligence for every single measure. So what I will do, I would just create them with some C# code. You can see the example here. So I've created the base measures, and what I want to create from these base measures are the AC measures and PY measures. The great thing is if you also include the type of this calculation of this column, you can also set the format string, or you can read the data type as well. But here I think it's easier to do it with the measures and the naming. But let's focus first on this, on creating these two folders. For that, I will just go there and delete these two, so you can see they're really created. So I will delete this also. And we have the base measures only. And from these base measures, I want to create the other folders as we have seen before. So I will put it in here, the code snippet, make it a bit smaller. Okay, can you see everything? Or is it too small?
It's good.
Okay, great. So, as before, I will create the measures table, a variable, just to put my measures in it. And then I need a new variable, it's called base measures, where I just iterate through the measures table, so this table, and I look out for this this folder. You can create subfolders with 2 backslashes, because in Power BI, I'll show it quickly. In Power BI, when you have subfolder like this one, you use 1 backslash, but the C# code will say you, I can understand that, and you have to escape the special character with double backslash. So just for information, this is how you look through the display folder. Here we are looking for a specific display folder, so not with like and stuff. We just look for the generate from base and then base init. So we are exactly here. I'll show it. So generate from base and then base. Okay, so we found our base variables here, and then we will just iterate through them. Again, for each, we'll just take the measure in base measures. And now we have this problem that we have the names that have base and int and euro and stuff in it. We will just take the quantity and sales amount from these names. So for that, we will just look up the index of the base measure. So here with the index of base, and then we will create a substring from the base measure name. So we just get the quantity and just the sales amount. Now we can create our new measures. For that, we will start with AC measure, just variable, new measure, and then add to the measures table new measure with this correct measure name. So it's the name without any base and int and stuff. So here we are, and we're just adding a suffix AC. Then for the AC, we want just to give it measure back. So just refer to the base measure. For that, we are just taking measure, tax object full name, and we will take it and put it in the new folder. The folder is generate from base / AC. So generate from base and subfolder AC. Pretty similar we'll do with the PY measure, where we just take the correct measure name, put PY on the end of it, and then we will change the DAX code because we want to get the previous year of this measure and not the same calculation. So we tell the calculate function, put it in the measure DAX object full name, and then we will just take the same period last year function and take the date column for it. And again, we will just put it in the folder, generate from base, but now PY. So let's run the code. And you can probably see here, we have now two more folders, the AC and PY. And when I just open it, I see my measures, the quantity AC, sales amount AC, quantity PY, and sales amount PY. I have one space too much, but doesn't matter for now. We'll just save it. And then we can go back. Here we have an error. We can open the table, or the metrics, and just put our new measures in it. But maybe just let's take a look how these measures are defined. So the AC measure, you can see we're just referring to the base measure, the quantity base int. So it's this measure here. Sales amount, the same, referring to the base measure. And then previous year, we have the reference to the base measure, but with the calculation same period last year. And the same goes for the sales amount. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you today is how to hide measures, because we just created these measures and we don't need this base measure anymore. So we need it, but we don't need to see it. So we will just as we did it with the delete measures, we will just go in there, iterate through the base measures. So here, iterate through the base measures, and then just take the measure, take its property as hidden, and set it to true. Let's run the code. Oh, I did something wrong. Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot the measure table. That's my... So here, I have the measure table, and then there are base measures in it. I didn't copy the whole thing. And now you can see the here, the base measures are all hidden. What I'm using as well here, so I'm not, I show you the code again. Oh, here we just defined, how can I make it bigger here? Here we just defined the AC measures and the previous year measures, here hard-coded it. what would I do is I would iterate through the calculation items. You can also do it. You can then iterate through calculation items and create a measure for every calculation item. I can show you the code sample for that. Here it is. So I just iterate through base measures. Until this part, you should know how the drills go. Here I will just get the correct measure name. And then I have other for each loop where I iterate through calculation items in my calculation calculation group table and the calculation items in it. So you can just get the name through just dragging and dropping the table for calculation items. And then I just add a measure with the correct name. And for the calculation, it's pretty simple. You just take the calculate, measure DAX object full name, and you take you use the calculation items as a filter. So time intelligence is my calculation group and calculation item column. And then you just take the calculation item name. I can show you this in Power BI really quickly. We don't have time to. I can't. Sorry, I deleted it. But it's just like the how do you call it? Just like filter. So where you just take the calculation item as a filter. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could take anything from that. And maybe it helps you in your day-to-day work. If you have any more questions, then you can now unmute yourself and we can just talk.